Hi, welcome to the DC Marvel Battlecast, where we discuss all things DC and Marvel related, and we debate who would win in versus battle matchups. I'm Johnny DC.
And I'm his twin brother, Marvelous Joe.
The song at the beginning was Seeing Red by Chevelle.
No, it's called The Red.
Oh, The Red.
The Red by Chevelle, one of my most favorite bands of all time. It doesn't really belong to any superhero movie or anything. I remember it was rumored when it first came out to be part of the Daredevil soundtrack.
The Ben Affleck one?
The Ben Affleck Daredevil movie.
I remember hearing that on MTV.
Yeah, and they ended up doing an original song for that movie. But since we'll be discussing the new Daredevil trailers today, we thought it was a fitting song for this podcast.
Way to squeeze it in a relation to Daredevil, since it never has been before.
Yeah, I always thought it was the perfect Daredevil song, rock song, so.
It's ironic, because he doesn't actually see.
Right. But I like the way the new Daredevil Netflix series kind of portrays his radar sense as kind of like this world on fire.
Yeah, that's
it is
true.
so much better than the blue CGI bullcrap from the original Daredevil movie.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about Daredevil later.
Yeah.
We are starting off news-wise later on. Also, this is one of our battle casts, so just look forward to seeing that or hearing that later on. We're going to do Superman versus Doctor Doom. So, but before we get to that, let's start with the news.
All right. Well, as we know, the Deadpool movie is breaking all kinds of records. It opened to a lot of money. I can't remember what was the figure.
I think it was like close to 130.
Yeah.
Which is insane. Like, I didn't realize how insane that. I mean, they're projecting that Batman v Superman is going to open between $100 and $140 million the opening weekend. So
basically, Deadpool has earned about as much as what Batman vs Superman is.
May possibly more. Yep. I mean, if Batman v Superman only opens at 100,000, which is like the low end, then yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised if that happened. But I mean, I guess it's possible. That's what industry experts are predicting. So it's the biggest Marvel, biggest X-Men movie, right? Like ever, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm pulling up the latest article on Box Office Mojo, and this was written on February 21st, at which point it had grossed almost $500 million worldwide. So
$500 million. Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk. Yeah, it's insane. There's a lot of talk about creating more R-rated superhero content.
I'm not surprised. When a movie makes $1 billion or $500 million, then I wonder how much more it's going to make.
A lot.
Yeah, I see it still being number one in the box office for a few weeks now. What's the biggest thing to come out this week? Like Gods of Egypt? There's no way that's going to be Deadpool.
Yeah, I have no interest in seeing it. It looks cheesy, I guess.
It does. Looks like a worse version of, or maybe a slightly better version. Anyway, still really bad version of Clash of the Titans.
Yeah.
And
those weren't the greatest movies ever. Daredevil is projected to win this weekend again.
Deadpool.
Did I say Daredevil again? Wow, I cannot stop doing that. It's projected to win the weekend again. There are a lot of articles that have come out that I've read that are saying, oh, the studios don't get it. Deadpool didn't, make money because it was rated R, which I agree with.
Right, yeah, I totally agree with. James Gunn, I think, started saying that. He was like the first one to say that. Like, studios are going to get the lesson of Deadpool wrong.
Yes. And hopefully, there are so many of those articles that the studios are actually paying attention. I think the lesson to be learned here from the success of Deadpool is that we don't need rated R content. We need just a unique content.
We need content made
Make it original.
By people who are passionate about what they're making.
Yes.
And want to make like the best product and tribute to, adapted material that they possibly can.
Right.
True fans of the source material.
Right. So, going from that, there's the news that 20th Century Fox, they revealed at Toy Fair, the most recent Toy Fair, that they would be targeting an R rating for the next Wolverine movie, which is supposed to be based off of the Old Man Logan story arc.
That's the rumor.
Actually, I think that was confirmed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was confirmed.
Do you have a title for the film yet?
No, we don't have a title yet. I hope they don't go with Old Man Logan. They say it's going to be based off of Old Man Logan, and that they might substitute Blind Hawkeye for Deadpool. But I don't know how that's going to work, because Old Man Logan, the last Wolverine movie started off with Wolverine in kind of this retired state. So they already kind of have, I mean, in Old Man Logan, the comic book story starts off in the same way. He's retired. He hasn't fought in like 50 years. It's very Mad Max-ish, and like supervillains have taken over America and everything. So it's just kind of a weird story. Like, the Hulk goes crazy and has sex with She-Hulk, and they have a bunch of kids, and they kind of take over California.
That's his cousin.
It was a very kind of oh dang, I'm drawing a blank. Who wrote Welcome Back, Frank? Garth Ennis. Why did I forget that? It felt kind of like a kind of Garth Ennis type style writing.
Was it the Maestro version of Hulk?
No, it was actually old Bruce Banner, who was crazy, but he had the Hulk strength. But he could turn into the Hulk, and he ended up eating Wolverine. It is just batshit crazy. It is a batshit crazy story. I don't know how they would adapt it into a movie, but it would totally be rated R, you know, if they chose to adapt it. So for some properties, I think that it's appropriate to go rated R.
Wolverine should be rated R.
I would like to see a rated R movie just because we want to see him cut loose. Cut loose in the cartoons and in the movies. We never really get to see him we never get to see him as violent as his powers should make him. I mean, the Wolverine movie was very violent, but you know, it kind of like showed everything in the dark. Kind of, you didn't see anybody. You didn't see him like chopping off anybody's head or anything. Which is, I think we've gotten to the point where we've seen enough from Wolverine, at this point to kind of jump into the next level of violence. I think see him like chop a dude's head off is not something that we've seen before in the comics. So I'm fine with a rated R Wolverine 3. Do you think it'll bring something different?
Yeah, I mean, just thinking back to that, what was the book? Marvel 5 Fabulous Decades. That Frank Miller Wolverine comic at the end that involved, it was in Japan.
He was against.
I just remember seeing, that was like the first time I ever saw like a really like bloody comic.
Yeah. And chopping limbs off.
And it was just blood splattering everywhere.
Saw a cross section of a guy's thigh.
Yeah, it was the first time I've ever seen it. It was my first experience with a violent comic book, and so I've always kind of associated Wolverine with sort of that violence. And it's a guy with knives on his hands. Yeah. You know. Yeah. So
I want to see him chop limbs off and have them not grow back like they did in X-Men 3. Yeah, I want it. If they could get to the same level of violence, not that I'm like a huge fan of violence. I mean, I'll take it or leave it depending on the context of the story. Yeah, like Blade 2 was a great rated R comic book movie that had violence that was appropriate, and I think that was a good example of another good example besides Deadpool of a good rated R property. Same thing with The Punisher. Yeah. Although I think The Punisher could have been even more violent, at least the first one. Warzone was pretty violent.
Definitely.
But that one was almost
cartoony
violence.
Yeah, none of those characters are like kid friendly though. Wolverine is on that borderline where kids know of him. Kids have seen his movies. Kids are fans of him.
That's true.
Parents are not gonna like the idea of a rated R Deadpool. Wolverine. I can't imagine how many parents. I mean, when I went to go see Deadpool, there were at least 2 families that had kids with them, and I was like, oh dear gosh. So parents are definitely not gonna like a rated R Wolverine.
I think you have a point there, but since I'm not a parent, that's something I don't have to think about.
I think the studio has to think about it. I mean, and I guess they've already announced that it's happening, so they're just gonna have to deal with it, I guess, when it happens. But is this something we're gonna see more of? Just these rated R superhero films, and how is that going to think of the children?
Yeah.
Rarely is the question asked,
I think
is our children watching rated R films?
If they go like a direct Old Man Logan route, I don't think it's going to be a movie that kids want to see. I don't know. It's just because how weird it is. Like, it is very much Mad Max. Do kids want to see those type of movies?
But kids don't like Mad Max. Kids like Wolverine. I wonder if they would not call it Wolverine. What if they would just call it like Logan? And I wonder if that would like skew, or like not skew. What am I saying? Just like shun some of the younger audiences away because they won't recognize it as Wolverine. Maybe
that's a good idea. Like call the movie Old Man Logan, maybe.
Just call it Logan.
Or just Logan.
Just call it Logan.
I wonder when this would take place in continuity in the new.
That's what I was screwed up timeline.
Yeah, because Old Man Logan takes place like 50 years in the future, but they've already gone
much
into
further
the
past
future.
that, haven't they?
Maybe it would take place after. Remember at the end of Days of Future Past when he was back at the mansion
and it was a happily ever after ending.
Yeah, it was the happily ever after ending. I wonder if it would take place like 50 years after that.
So things end up bad anyway.
Yeah, things end up bad anyway.
So it just like closes out that universe. Maybe I don't know. Wolverine is in the comics is dead right now, isn't he?
Yes.
But Old Man Logan is in the comics.
Right. Well, they kind of combined universes.
Yeah, I mean, like Miles Morales is in the Marvel universe proper.
Yes.
616 now.
Yeah.
Do you prefer Old Man Logan to normal aged Logan?
Hell no.
I'm just wondering because he makes a great like old man character. I haven't read the comic, but just like the aesthetic. When I think of Wolverine, I think of like this grumpy old man.
That's kind of what he's always been. He's always been kind of a curmudgeon. But so that's why he fits that role pretty well. But I always prefer the status quo in terms of the characters, I think.
Yeah. Doesn't that get boring, though?
I don't think so. It just depends on the stories that you put them in.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like when they do change characters, I'm always waiting for them to change them back.
Yeah. So, I heard that maybe there is going to be a rated R DC movie.
I mean, Batman v Superman is going to be rated R on Blu-ray, but I don't think it's going to be exclusively rated R. I think they're going to have a rated R version,
like a director's cut. That's rated R.
Yeah, which makes sense. I mean, looking back at like Watchmen, how many versions did that have? The director's cut, that had the ultimate cut, and Watchmen started off as rated R.
Yeah.
But, I think it's just one of those special... I think people are making a bigger deal about it than it really is.
It's really not a big deal because most of the times when they release the director's cut or an extended cut or
anything, like unrated.
It's unrated.
Yeah.
This time, I think they went rated R on purpose because they're trying to kind of capitalize on the success of Deadpool. Yeah. So they kind of marketed it as... Oh, you guys like R-rated stuff? Well, here's our R-rated version of this movie that's coming out soon, and I mean, it would have been the same as the unrated version. It's just the director's cut. It's not a.
Well, I mean, I said it's not a big deal. I do also have to say though, I don't really care for that idea. Like,
it seems like a gimmick. It seems like a gimmick.
No,
I think they're turning the rating system into a gimmick.
No, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if even if Deadpool didn't do well, I think they still would have done this. I don't think it's in I mean, and I could be wrong, and people will probably say I'm stupid for saying this, but I don't think it's related to Deadpool's rating or success. I don't think so. I mean, I don't know.
You can think that, but you can also think the Earth is flat.
I would not be surprised if they did it regardless, just because of Zack Snyder's history of releasing like special versions.
No, because studios view the R rating when it comes to comic book properties, popular comic book properties, kid-friendly comic book properties, as kind of, what's the word I'm looking for?
What?
Not a good thing. Damn it.
Negative?
Yeah, it's negative. I think it has everything to do with Deadpool, and this kind of new perspective that R-rated content is something that is palpable by the general audience.
I think I just like the idea of DC not being influenced by Marvel property.
Everybody influences everybody.
Yeah, probably.
But
I wonder what content is going to make it rated R.
Probably just more violence. I read an article that the first Transformers movie, the 2007 Transformers movie, that originally came back from the MPAA as rated R.
Didn't it? Well, Deadpool came back as NC-17,
yes.
didn't it?
And guess what they changed in the 2007 Transformers movie?
What?
To make it PG-13.
What?
Nothing. They just they just had a conversation with Steven Spielberg, who convinced them to change it to PG-13.
What?
So Transformers, the 2007 Transformers movie, is like a rated R movie.
Why was it originally rated R? There's nothing in there that would make it rated R.
There's violence. There's a lot of violence.
Robot on robot violence.
On robot violence and
just like the destruction of a city.
I guess crude humor and stuff. Yeah. So I mean,
I wonder if Man of Steel would have been rated R.
Possibly.
Interesting.
Possibly. I could totally see Man of Steel being rated R. But
see,
whoever's making a big deal about
it
being rated R is
when I first heard about that, I could totally see a rated R Batman film, just because of how brutal he is in comics like The Dark Knight Returns, which the last trailer we talked about that in the last podcast totally reminded me of, just how coming up through the floor and just like not killing guys but putting them in the hospital for like forever, like that level of brutality. But I've always I don't. If you told me they were making a rated R Superman movie, I'd be like, really?
No, that would be a horrible, horrible idea.
Like, I would prefer them to go PG before rated R. You know. So I think the people who don't like this or are making a big deal about it, it's because of Superman.
Yeah.
And not Batman.
Yeah.
So I understand where they're going. Again, we still have our PG-13 version. It's not like they're making the definitive cut rated R. So it's just a special extra version. So therefore, it's not a big deal. I think.
I don't think it is. They may as well just named it unrated. So
I still wonder though. Is it just like the violence? I know Ben Affleck rewrote some of the scenes.
Maybe Superman says fuck too many times in the bathtub.
well, like Goodwill Hunting was rated R, so it's like just the news that Ben Affleck rewrote some of the scenes like while he was on set after he was already suited up when they were about to shoot. He's like, you know what? Let's change this. Let's rewrite this.
Batman's probably like, take the car to the barn, you fucker. That was my best attempt at a Boston accent. I don't know if that worked.
No, I doubt that. No, I'm not even gonna laugh at that because that'd be terrible.
What about Justice League? Do you think that'll come out with a rated R cut?
I don't know.
It's filming.
It
hasn't started filming yet, but that kind of the behind the scenes Instagram post with Zack Snyder and
that was cool.
What's his name? Aquaman. Damn it,
Jason Momoa. The most badass actor on the planet.
Yeah, I like the Flash costume. It didn't look armored.
It did look armored. What are you talking about?
Oh, I thought it
did you not
armored.
Look at the photo?
Well, I didn't zoom in. I just saw it on the left.
No, it's totally like the Injustice version.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, which damn it. But oh well. I'll just be happy to see the entire Justice League up there.
Maybe it's like a technical suit that's powered by the Speed Force.
I don't want that. I want an energy suit, a Speed Force, like a suit made of like this energetic.
You have to admit
force.
though that makes less sense from like a realistic technical standpoint. It would make more sense like a suit that harnesses that electric power or something.
Yes. Yeah, I guess. So that'd be Justice League Part 1 starts filming April 11th. So
despite rumors to the contrary.
So this HitFix article, Drew McWeener. Yeah.
Like no one's ever said that before.
Yeah, there's the huge like this.
Well, he used to be Moriarty at Ain't It Cool News.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That was his pseudonym.
Oh yeah, I never liked him.
I always liked Moriarty. He was one of my favorite reviewers.
No. So yeah, we missed this in the last podcast because it happened like the day before, and I don't know, somehow we just didn't pick up on it. But yeah, there was a rumor, or not rumor, but there was speculation that Warner Brothers was worried about, about Batman v Superman, and that they were considering replacing Justice League with a Ben Affleck directed Batman movie, and considering
putting Zack
Snyder as the helmer of Justice League. And when I heard that, I was like, what is this?
Did it make you nervous at all?
I was really depressed, actually. Like, the whole day I was just like lying on the floor, like, why how's this how's this possible? But I mean, after I kind of came to my senses later on, other sources that I do like, that I do agree with, were like, no, this is his speculation. He heard that Warner Brothers was nervous, which they should be, because, I mean, and I understand if they are, because, this is the Kickstarter of their universe, for the whole DC extended universe. And so I could see where, I don't know if worried is the correct word, because they're not worried about doing it bad. I'm pretty sure they love the film. And I guess now it has 2 Oscar-winning writers, Chris Terrio and Ben Affleck. Yeah. So I think it's gonna be really smart. Just as polarizing as Man of Steel was for some people, I think it was a brilliantly written film, great approach. I think this will be even better. I don't think the studio's worried about how much money it's gonna make. So
don't say that.
I think the studio isn't worried that it's a good film. I think they're worried about how much money it's going to make.
Okay.
That being said, though, I think they're really confident in their film, and if they're announcing something, the Justice League film production starts 2 weeks after Batman v Superman, this is a huge train. It would be so hard to stop. I think they're super confident in it. If they weren't, they wouldn't have announced the April 11th start date. So,
I heard someone say that even if Batman vs Superman is not the movie we want it to be, if it's disappointing, which I know your brain can't even process right now.
No,
but go with me. If it is not the movie we want it to be, that we should still support it, because there's no stopping the Justice League train, and it's not like these movies can revert to another studio to be done right or anything. So basically, even if this is bad, you want to see them at least redeem themselves with the movies that are to come. Like, if this movie makes $0, which it won't, but if it way underperforms, what if Warner Brothers cancels all future DC projects?
No.
So basically, what they're saying is make this movie make $1 billion, which I think it needs to at least break even.
See, I don't think it does.
Yeah, well, the general rule of thumb is that a studio needs to make at least double its production budget in order to be profitable. So I guess $1 billion would definitely be profitable, because the budget of Batman vs Superman was like.
There's no actual number out there. There's rumors.
Okay.
Rumored of close to $400 million, but
holy crap, $400 million! That's almost $500 million. Oh my god!
It did not cost that much.
I hope not. They would screw themselves over pretty big if it cost that much money.
No,
I feel like that's too high of a number.
They'll recuperate their costs down the road, just like with Marvel and their universe. The more films they make, the more money they'll make. The more
because of the brand,
the more of an audience draw. Okay. And honestly, just based on the trailers for Batman v Superman, it's like,
I think
greenlight that shit. The Justice. I mean, it's already greenlit, but keep going.
I think to prove your point about the whole making more movies brings in the audience, I think Ant-Man kind of proved that, because I feel like Ant-Man would not have got the earnings it did if it was not the part of the Marvel brand.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. Totally. And it's Batman v Superman. I mean, I haven't heard a person yet who says they don't want to see this movie.
I don't want to see it.
Yes, you do. In your heart, you know. In your heart, you know. Marvelous.
In my heart of hearts.
Everyone does. So I think it'll.
You're such a DC fanboy.
These are the two most iconic superheroes of all time.
You sound like Donald Trump right now. Everyone in the world wants to see this movie. It's gonna win, and then it's gonna win more, and then it's gonna get tired of winning. George Miller's producing. That's good news.
Yeah. It's not terrible news. So
George Miller's fantastic.
Yeah. I liked Mad Max. It does mean that. So I was. A lot of people don't know this.
I like Happy Feet.
But shut up. But you liked Mad Max.
I liked both movies.
Christopher Nolan is producing Batman v Superman. I was looking at the producer credits for Justice League, and it looks like George Miller is taking over for Christopher Nolan, which I'm not sure how I feel about that. I really like. What did I say?
I said I know how I feel about it.
I don't know. I really like Christopher Nolan. Huge Nolanite. Fuck all the haters. George Miller's fine. Mad Max was good. Happy Feet I didn't care for. Whatever. George Miller is a great director. Hopefully this just means down the road he has some interest in directing a DC film property.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. I think this is fantastic news. I like George Miller a lot more than I like Christopher Nolan.
What?
Yes.
Why?
Christopher Nolan, Memento is one of my favorite movies, but he has directed... I know he has a lot of lovers, but they are as far up his ass as Christopher Nolan is as far up his own ass.
What?
Yes. Okay, I really liked Memento. I really liked Inception. But the guy lost me so much on The Dark Knight Rises.
What?
That was a horrible movie.
Oh, gosh.
Interstellar was a horrible movie.
No, Interstellar was a freaking great
Interstellar
movie.
was a horrible
Interstellar was one of the best movies that has ever been made.
No, it sucked. It sucked, and you should feel bad for liking it.
No, I don't.
Insomnia was a horrible movie.
What?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Oh my gosh.
So,
you just have bad taste in film. I get it. That's it. You must be a Marvel fan.
The fans gave him so much goodwill just because he did The Dark Knight Rises. And Batman Begins was a fantastic... Or, not The Dark Knight Rises, The Dark Knight. And Batman Begins was a great film, too.
Even if he didn't do the Batman movies, even if he just did Inception, even if he just did Interstellar, I'd be like, this guy's a genius.
His shit is so full of plot holes. All the damn time. Oh my gosh.
No, his stuff is just so smart. All movies are full of plot holes.
Not as much as... His movies are so full of plot holes that his whole movie falls into the plot hole.
Oh my gosh.
Look it up. Don't look it up. Just look. Don't just be like, oh, it's Christopher Nolan, so it must be smarter.
No.
I must like it.
No, it's not even like that.
Look at how many plot holes are in Interstellar, and then come back to me.
Okay, name one plot hole. Okay, this is totally not superhero news, but name one plot hole in Interstellar.
The whole movie.
Name one plot hole in Interstellar.
When he went into the black hole, that was the biggest plot hole.
No, it wasn't.
Yes.
No, that was like the third act. That was the way he. Have you ever?
He spent his whole.
Have you ever been in a black hole? Have you ever been in a black hole?
Oh yes, I have. And guess what? There was no bookcase there.
Why did it was what the bookcase represented.
That's stupid.
It was what the bookcase represented. You didn't think the visualization of
why didn't
the fifth dimension was cool?
Why didn't the dimensional aliens just put him into the into the lab where they were researching gravity, and that way he could just write on the chalkboard using gravity?
Because he needed...
It's a paradox. The whole thing.
It's love. So it was all about love.
Oh.
He needed that love connection with his daughter. Anyway, we should just stop talking about this.
We sucked.
Batman v Superman is going to be awesome. Justice League is kicking off soon after. I'm totally getting my tickets this Sunday night, at midnight, because they go on sale. The BVS tickets go on sale February 29th.
I thought that's Monday.
Yeah, but I mean...
Oh, Sunday night?
At midnight? Yeah, totally. And I still haven't decided whether I'm going to get the Regal Ultimate ticket.
What's that?
It's So Regal Cinemas is doing this thing where you pay $100, you could see the film.
No, they lost me.
You can see the film. Maybe not. I mean, okay. What if Marvel did something like this? You pay $100 to see the movie as many times as you want, once a day.
No.
What? You saw Avengers 10 times in theaters. You would not do that?
For the duration of its theatrical run?
Yes. You could see it once a day for the duration of its theatrical run for $100.
What if the movie sucks?
The movie is not going to suck.
You don't know that.
The movie is going to be great.
You don't know that. No, I wouldn't take that risk. I would see it. I would see it once, because the Avengers I saw 10 times because I wanted to. But I don't want to see all movies 10 times. You know.
Well, I know you don't, but I totally want to see Batman v Superman 10 times already.
Watch Batman vs Superman become like, it's gonna be like the shittiest movie ever, and you're so blinded by your fanboy. Like, I will call a Marvel movie shitty if I think it's shitty. But you're not gonna say this is shitty even if it is shitty.
No, I mean, I can admit when a DC movie is shitty. I mean, Green Lantern,
Jonathan,
wasn't the best movie. Batman Returns
or Johnny
was
DC.
Terrible.
Johnny DC. Okay, you took our friend Curtis to go see. How many times did you see Catwoman in theaters, Jonathan? How many times did you see Catwoman in theaters?
Twice?
I think it was at least 3 times.
No.
You convinced our friend Curtis to go see Catwoman with you over Spider-Man 2, which was in theaters at the same time. Because of how much you were talking it up.
No, I don't
This
remember
is how
that
much
at
of a
all.
blind DC fanboy this guy is.
I don't remember that at all.
Yes, I remember that. Because I took Mom and Dad to go see Spider-Man 2 when you took Curtis to go see Catwoman.
Well, didn't he already see Spider-Man 2?
I don't remember.
Well, I mean, he likes DC as well, so I think he skews more DC than Marvel. So yeah, we were,
I would see Spider-Man 2.
He was interested in seeing it, so I was like, I'll go see it with you. I don't kind of fuck Marvel.
Well, he was not. He was only interested in seeing it because of how much you were talking about it. Everyone knew that was a crap movie. That's why it made like $0.
He wanted to see it. He likes DC, so he wanted.
Busted.
Yeah, no. So even Catwoman is a bad movie.
You didn't say so at the time.
Is a bad movie.
So at the time.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. How could you say that? I knew Catwoman was gonna be terrible before I even saw it. You can't say that.
And yet you saw it multiple times and convinced Chris.
I didn't even buy the movie when it came out on DVD because I knew it was bad. I got it someone gave it to me for free. No, yeah.
Oh, I didn't buy this. It was given to me for.
Someone gave it to me as a gift. No, that's a true story.
Okay.
So
well, I can't knock you for at least owning it because I own all the Marvel movies, good or bad.
Yeah.
But it's not like I'm talking them up and like.
I was never talking up Catwoman.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
I will punch you in the face through your ass.
All right.
What's next?
I think that's it for most of the news. There was. We could start talking about the next season of Daredevil now.
Oh yeah,
because
sure.
Netflix has released quite a few trailers and character posters or character artwork, which they call character artwork, but is really just like a motion poster.
Yeah. Which is really just a mini clip.
Yeah.
In like a poster composition.
It's like a good way to just like look at the character. So they released the first trailer last week, I believe, and it was very Punisher heavy.
Yeah. Punisher centric for sure.
Punisher centric, so much so that I thought Punisher was going to be the primary antagonist of season 2.
Yeah.
So that was kind of weird.
Weird?
Yeah, because I the only reason you would make Punisher a primary antagonist in a superhero book is because maybe you ran out of villains or something, and Daredevil has plenty of villains, and I'm glad to see that the second trailer, the Elektra one, kind of proved that the primary antagonist of season 2 appears to be the Hand, which is the clan of ninjas.
Well, I mean...
And maybe Gorgon or something. I think in the Elektra trailer, there's a Japanese guy who's unmasking. I think it might be Gorgon.
Who's Gorgon?
He's a bad guy. He's He primarily shows up as I remember I read a lot about him in the Wolverine comic when he kind of brainwashed Wolverine. They took him over. And,
was he part of the Hand?
Yeah. Yeah, he's actually the leader.
For some reason, okay, well that makes sense then. For some reason, when I saw that, I was like, "Oh, is that Ronin?" Which was like from the all new Avengers or something like that. I don't know what I was thinking.
Well, Ronin was Echo, I think initially. Well, a lot of people have been Ronin, but I don't know. It could be they could call him Ronin or something. I don't know who it is, but it's probably the leader of the Hand.
Yeah.
I always liked the ninja stories with Daredevil, so I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm glad to see that Punisher he's more of a side quest. It looks like at some point they team up. It looks like at some point they are at odds with one another, which is exactly how it should be. So
yeah, Punisher should be at odds with every single other vigilante superhero.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, he's kind of, and that kind of makes him. That's part of his appeal is that he's such a lone.
I know you were pretty upset when you heard about him like joining the cast of the Thunderbolts in the comics.
Who, Punisher?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's not really. I wasn't upset. It seemed a little odd because he's not. It was also odd when he was part of like Marvel Knights because he's really not a team player, and when he is, people just get pissed off and kick him out or something.
Yeah, because he kills people.
Yeah. So, So it looks like Elektra may have a bigger role than even Punisher because she appears to be like the catalyst of what draws him into the Hand fight.
Yeah, I don't think Punisher should be. I think it makes sense if Elektra has a bigger role, just because it's more of a team up.
Yeah, she's more in the Daredevil universe than Punisher. She's more a part of the Daredevil universe than the Punisher.
Yeah. Is Deadpool is Bullseye? Do you think Bullseye is gonna be in Daredevil? I mean, we're so close to it. I know they were talking about casting Jason Statham as Bullseye.
It's possible.
I wonder if they've just been like keeping that under wraps. It's like best kept secret.
I think if you go with Bullseye and the Hand in this season, you're kind of blowing your whole wad. The Hand can definitely take up their own season, and then maybe save Bullseye for season 3 or something.
Can the Hand take up their? I mean,
yes.
But who's the primary antagonist? Some guy that like is like a D-list villain at best.
Gorgon? No, I wouldn't say he's D-list. He's more.
He's no Kingpin. C-list. He's no Punisher.
No, but he still provides a formidable enough threat, along with the whole Hand. I think they can definitely carry their own season. So yeah, I'm excited. Did you watch both trailers?
Yes. Yeah, I saw both the Punisher and the Elektra one. The Punisher one started off like when I first saw that I was like, what is this, a horror film? It's like la 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 la.
Yeah, it kind of did, which was that was kind of strange.
I think I liked the Elektra one more than
the acting by Jon Bernthal is pretty good in just those few moments that we get to see of him. They're really playing up the revenge angle, which you don't always get in your Punisher movies. Like in the first Punisher movie, with Thomas Jane, you see, his family get killed and he's distraught by that, and then he kind of turns into stone, and his grief over his family only pops up in a couple other moments within the film. And in Punisher Warzone, we only saw his family being addressed
like once.
when he was in the graveyard, and everything else he's just this killing machine, and you don't really get the sense of why. You don't really get a sense of his motivations in every action that he does. And I feel like in every single shot we saw of Jon Bernthal's Punisher, we got he had this sadness kind of to him. This haunted look. You could tell he's just a husk of a man. Not just like a smart killing machine and everything, but just this kind of like distraught figure, and I think it's really powerful when he says to Daredevil, you're just one bad day away from being me, and
that's from the comic.
Yes, yeah, it is, and Yeah, I can't wait. I'm severely disappointed that the claim that Bernthal was getting his own Netflix series turned out to be just a rumor. It was debunked by Jeff Loeb, who was in charge of their TV production.
Yeah.
So I think what happened was that they made a deal with Netflix for Daredevil and Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist, and then the Defenders. I think any subsequent series after that would require a new deal with Netflix, which I hope they do because their shows are fantastic. So it'll be like phase 2. I think maybe if they continue to go with Netflix after the Defenders show, phase 2 hopefully will involve a Punisher series. Hopefully. And maybe an Elektra one. And maybe a Moon Knight one. I don't know. That's all just guesswork. But hopefully they keep him around. I want to see as much of the Punisher as I can.
I hope we see Punisher in the skull shirt. We haven't seen that yet. I mean, right now he seems very like
just a
in the Elektra one. Elektra says, you're the best fighter I've ever seen. So to see Daredevil lose in a fist fight and I'm sure the Punisher plays dirty because he's the Punisher and that's what he does.
Yeah.
But in a guy, just in a shirt and a jacket and jeans is.
Well, he's obviously well trained, and he definitely plays dirty. He's admitted in the comics. The Punisher has admitted in the comics that he never stands a chance in a regular fight with Daredevil.
Yeah.
So he has to use like sonic grenades or
Spoilers.
something.
Spoilers.
I don't know if that's what will happen in the movie or in the show. But yeah, I would like to see him in the Punisher skull. Have the Punisher emblem on his shirt as well. And I also want to see the Netflix series. They seem surprisingly shy with
costumes.
Their costumes.
Yeah.
Like the first whole season of Daredevil, we didn't get the costume.
And even now, he still doesn't have the double D on his chest.
Punisher doesn't have a costume. Elektra doesn't have a costume. I think they're trying to keep it grounded. They're making it less comic booky and more realistic in how they think this thing will go. I think eventually we will see Punisher in his skull shirt. I think they learned the lesson from the very first Dolph Lundgren movie. We will riot. Fans will riot if you don't put him in the skull shirt. So I think eventually everybody they kind of graduate into their roles at the end of their arc.
I mean, it's interesting because the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been so faithful to, except for in cases like Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, but so faithful to like the comic costume. So I mean, and I wonder how connected the shows.
Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver had faithful costumes.
Maybe to the Ultimate Universe, but not like.
No, in the Ultimate Universe, Quicksilver had like this black kind of Bryan Singer-ish costume. In Age of Ultron, Quicksilver had his blue.
Scarlet Witch didn't even have a costume.
Well, she had her red.
Is that all it takes to make? She didn't have a cape. She didn't have her like weird like little pointy hat thingy, double pointed.
The tiara type thing.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll give the tiara to Luke Cage?
I heard a rumor that they were going to, actually.
I just want Luke Cage to be in a yellow shirt. I think all he needs is the yellow shirt. It would be cool if he had like the chain belt as well, but yellow shirt is all you need.
I can't remember the last time in the comics I've seen him wear the tiara. I mean, I haven't seen the comics in a long time.
That's more of a Power Man thing. Yeah. I don't think they're going to call him Power Man, or if they do, it's going to be a joke.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I saw the logo for it. It was very purpley. Or like the background was purpley and
no, that's not necessarily the logo.
I mean, it was the atmosphere of the poster.
No, but they also had a poster that was of the same style that had Patsy Walker from Jessica Jones. So I think that's actually Jessica Jones artwork. That hasn't been confirmed as Luke Cage artwork. I think it's actually Jessica Jones. But I
thought it would be more yellow. I guess I don't know. Especially considering I don't know. I wonder if Iron Fist will make an appearance in the Luke Cage show.
I don't know. That's a good question. Well, we know he's been cast now by someone I've never heard of. But you watch Game of Thrones. It's a Game of Thrones actor. His name is Finn Jones.
Oh, now I need to know who he plays on Game of Thrones. I think I have an idea of who it is.
Yeah. Yeah, that was confirmed by Entertainment Weekly earlier this week. And I never saw Game of Thrones. just because I don't watch a lot of TV. But you do. You watch HBO.
Yeah, he plays a... I don't want to give away any spoilers. He plays a homosexual knight.
Oh. Is that a spoiler? That's not a spoiler.
No, that's not a spoiler.
Okay. I think he looks the part. Maybe they cast him because he's good at martial arts or something. In the show...
He doesn't really... I mean, in the show, he's like one of the best swordsmen.
Yeah.
In the
Does he fight a lot in the show?
Well, no, there's like his first appearance, and it was played by a different actor then. He was like into this jousting tournament, and he held his own against this guy who went like berserk, because he lost to him. But that was a different actor. This new one we haven't seen him fight.
Wait, in Game of Thrones you have different actors playing the same part?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
For like minor roles though.
Yeah, my mind is kind of blown right now. Yeah, so there's a little bit of a backlash because Finn Jones is white and not Asian.
Danny Rand is white.
That's true. But they think...
I was so hoping they weren't going to do that. I was so hoping they were going to add some diversity to Iron Fist. It doesn't make any sense to me that Iron Fist is a white character. He should be Asian.
I think due to the kind of... I'm making up a word right now, but the Asian exploitation, kind of like blaxploitation.
Yeah.
The Asian exploitation nature of the character, who was created in the 70s and based off the appeal of all the martial arts movies that were coming out at the time. I think it would have made any type of casting tricky, because I think if you would have casted an Asian character, people would have been like, oh, why you gotta cast the... I read an article actually from an Asian writer who said he doesn't want Iron Fist to be Asian because the character is so Asian, and he thinks it would be more of a leap to make someone like Moon Knight Asian or something like that, someone who's not traditionally Asian.
Uh-huh.
But so that's one side of the coin.
Uh-huh.
But the other side of the coin is, Asians are underrepresented in the superhero.
The other side of the coin is just white man stealing Asian culture.
I definitely think that we have enough white blonde superheroes. We have Hawkeye, Thor, Captain America. I think Daredevil. I think they should have cast him as Asian, despite the fact that the character is so Asian. I think it fits. I think it would have fit more than casting any other actor.
Yeah.
I think I don't have a huge gripe with casting characters outside of the race of which they're portrayed in the comics. I think like the Fantastic Four movie, the new one.
Yeah.
I think one of the best things about that movie was casting Michael B. Jordan as the Human Torch, and I never had any problems with that. And I think it would have really worked for Iron Fist. So I too was disappointed when I saw who they cast. But
okay,
yeah,
let me say this though. So I'm disappointed they did not cast an Asian to play Iron Fist, but I am not disappointed with who they cast to play Danny Rand.
There you go.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. I think and while there's not enough representation of the Asian community in superheroes in general, I mean, we still have in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show, we have Quake, Daisy, she's like one of the main characters, and she's Asian. And Psylocke is coming out, so hopefully, if anything, we need more Hispanic superheroes.
Is Olivia Munn is Asian?
Yes.
She's probably part Asian.
Yeah, she's Japanese.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like I knew that.
Yeah. And I can't remember the actress's name who plays Daisy on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's the main young actress. She's hot. But she is a fantastic character. She's really grown in the 2.5 seasons that we've had. I think she's a really good Asian character. And
Elektra is Mediterranean. Right?
Oh, yes, Elektra is Mediterranean. She's Greek. And I think also Agent May in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show. Yeah. She I forget the actress's name too. She did the voice of Mulan. But she's really fantastic in the show too.
We didn't really... Sorry, just to go back to Daredevil, we touched on the Punisher trailer. Did we talk enough about the Elektra trailer?
Oh, we could go back. The Elektra trailer, I think what's her name? Lodi Young, I think. Yeah, Lodi Young. Looks straight out of the comics, like straight out of those Greg Horn covers.
I like those.
I think she really looks the part. I'm not sure about how well of an actress she is because I've never seen her in anything. I know she was in the second. I think she was in the second G.I. Joe movie as kind of this like red dressed assassin.
That was her?
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't see the movie, but I remember seeing the trailers and thinking that character looked cool. I think I mumbled earlier that I liked the Elektra trailer more than the Punisher trailer, but I think I just realized I didn't really care for Elektra in this trailer. I didn't think her acting was that great. It's like hungry, and then have you been working out? I appreciate that. It didn't seem like Elektra to me. I don't know why.
She seems sassy.
Does she? I don't know. I guess I'm okay with the casting.
Critics have said they. More than anything else, I think they've praised her a lot. So,
really?
Yeah.
Oh, for people who've already seen the
yes, I think they introduced like the first 4 episodes to people, and they've been praising Elektra a lot. So, I'm not concerned about that.
You know who I always thought would make a great Elektra?
Who?
You don't watch Arrow.
No.
But I don't know the actress's name. It's Ra's al Ghul's daughter, Nisa al Ghul. What is actress?
Are we going back to saying Ra's al Ghul?
They say Raish and Roz in the TV show, so I don't know. I've always said Raish.
Yeah.
I think the animated series used that, so that's what I heard first. But Nisa al Ghul, every time I see her, I'm like, she would have made a great Elektra. She would have made a great Wonder Woman. Just put her in anything. If I was not married, I would so marry her.
She's not dark enough. Although I guess they could be fixed with a tanning bed. I think Elodie Young looks ripped straight from the pages.
Yeah.
So I think that's good.
More than Jennifer Gardner.
Do Daredevil's eyes light up? I noticed that when she said hungry, that part that you don't like. Daredevil's eyes were like lit up. I wonder what that's about.
Yeah, it reminds me of like the Ben Affleck suit, just like the really red kind of reflective eyes. And the helmet, it looks weird to me. It looks like his eyes are too close together. It looks like he's smiling at her, but he's like looking way to the left in that scene. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know.
Well, I think the costume designer made Charlie Cox's helmet way too wide for his face. I think I've ever since I first saw the outfit before the first show even came out when Netflix released
the poster
of Daredevil in costume. I thought it was like, wow, that's a wide mask. Is Charlie Cox's head really that wide? I don't think it is, but.
Well, I remember when I first saw that, I was like, oh, his nose is covered.
Yeah, he has the nose bridge. Which I guess makes sense from a practical standpoint because
nose is a sensitive area.
The nose is a sensitive area, and but I guess the showrunner, and I can't remember his name,
Drew
Goddard said that when you show Charlie Cox's nose, he looks a lot like Charlie Cox, so it added to the believability. I don't have a huge problem with the nose thing, actually. I just really want to see the double D's on the chest.
You like the D?
That came out wrong.
You like the D.
Double D's. But yeah, costume has grown on me. Ever since I think since I saw the conceptual art for the costume that the artist did, I think they didn't quite get that 100%. But it makes me like the costume more when I see that. I just got to see them double D's, man. Wait for them double D's. The costume is so practical. I wonder what reason they would have for showing Matt Murdock's eyes glowing.
I wonder if it's like sort of like a Batman mentality where like it's the idea is to intimidate the opponent.
Or maybe that's just the way they're showing that he's using his radar sense at the time. I don't know.
I mean, it doesn't matter because he can't see. So, I mean, I say they're too close together, but really they could be like even on the sides of his head like a chameleon. You could get way crazy with the Daredevil costume because you can't see through the lenses.
You could give him
anyway.
like just like a third eye kind of thing and just have his eyes covered up and just
the back eyes are like, what?
Oh my god. So, yeah, I think we've addressed all the news.
Yeah, all the big news. I think we can't touch on everything, but I think that's the biggest news.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the new season of Daredevil. Actually comes out before the Batman Superman movie comes out in a few weeks. It comes out the week before the Batman vs Superman movie. So what we're gonna do is so the week after Batman vs Superman comes out, we're gonna review that. or not the week after, the week of. Mm-hmm. And then the following week, not the following week, the following podcast, that's when we'll go ahead and get into the Daredevil show. We'll review that, the Daredevil series. So that gives everybody
enough time to watch.
Yeah, about 3 weeks.
Gives me enough time to watch it. So right now I'm watching 3, DC shows right now. Yeah. And just a heads up, like we're gonna do a review of Daredevil. I don't know how many DC shows we're gonna review, just because I'm not watching all of them. There's so many right now. There's Arrow, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl, iZombie, which really isn't in the DC universe. Gotham.
So, I'm only watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Netflix shows, and Agent Carter is wrapping up here soon.
They're coming out with 2 more Marvel shows, aren't they?
Yes, Marvel's Most Wanted.
Uh-huh.
And...
Damage Control.
And
DC has something
should be fun.
Similar to it, Powerless. They just cast that. But no, so
there's also 2 X-Men shows coming out too.
That's right,
Legion and Hellfire Club.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Hellfire Club. Mm-hmm. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Yeah, I guess that could work. Emma Frost.
I don't think they're taking place in universe though.
Yeah.
Like in X-Men universe, but
is Fox going to do it?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's going to be a lot of TV shows. What we're going to try to do review-wise is review the season as it ends, kind of. And, yeah.
But again, for not all of the shows, because I stopped watching Gotham
and plus some shows just aren't
season.
Good, so you shouldn't expect us to watch them.
I heard actually Gotham isn't terrible.
Anymore?
No, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's semi-watchable. I don't know. I don't know.
What about Supergirl?
I still want to watch that. I still haven't. It's hard because CBS doesn't do Hulu because they're jerks.
You'll have to buy the season or something.
Yeah, I'll have to buy it on iTunes or something. I really want to see it because I, want my daughter to like superheroes, and I think she's a great. There's like tons of photographs of her around like little girls, and like just they're looking up to her. I think it just looks like a good show too. I really want to see Martian Manhunter.
Yeah.
Still want to see that.
He looks like the best part of
it. We'll keep you up to date as to which television shows we'll be reviewing once the seasons wrap up.
Yeah.
We might do a batch, just because like the Arrowverse, all of those TV shows kind of take place in the same... they do take place in the same universe, so...
And they kind of end at the same time, too, the seasons.
They do, right, yeah.
Okay, well... That's it for that. Let's go into the Battlecast. It's time for the Battlecast. Let's do it, guys.
It's time for a Battlecast. Marvel versus DC. Let's begin.
All right, so welcome to the Battlecast portion of the podcast. This is a segment, really the highlight of our podcast, where we discuss who would win in a fight between a DC character and a Marvel character.
And this week is going to be Superman versus Dr. Doom. And what we're going to do is we'll go ahead and we'll discuss the characters in case you don't know them, but everybody should at least know these characters. And then we'll kind of do what the old Spike TV show Deadliest Warrior did, where they get their attributes and their stats, and they run it through a Monte Carlo system and figure out who would win a majority of the time and declare them the winner.
Great.
So Superman versus Batman. Why did we decide to go with this fight?
Because no one requested any other fight. No. So we. I
did get one for Bruce Wayne versus Tony Stark.
Oh, really?
Like, not the superheroes, but just the alter egos.
Dude, that's not even a fight.
Yeah,
that's
Bruce Wayne would win.
Bruce Wayne would win.
But we just got done doing Batman against Moon Knight, so I figured we don't want to go to Bruce Wayne for the second one.
During this time since the last podcast, actually it was February 2nd, Newsarama, a comic book news website, put out a pretty interesting article about just how there's this resurgence of older crossover events, like with Marvel just finishing up another Secret Wars. They're going to do another Civil War, and so they're saying one of the crossover events we really want to see again is Marvel versus DC, because there was a Marvel versus DC comic that came out in the 90s, So they want to. They were saying we want to see that again, and here's who we want to see fighting. Their number one choice was Superman versus Doctor Doom. It's sort of DC's greatest hero versus Marvel's greatest supervillain, and they're both really powerful. So let's get into.
Yeah, well, I think this will be an interesting fight because Superman has always been kind of the guy, even from his early inception, who always overcomes things using he can overcome any obstacle basically just by being so powerful with his strength or with whatever power they invent for him that time, like his most recent invention being his, that he can like explode himself kind of.
Supernova. He basically is like a sun.
Which is actually kind of a cool power. It makes sense since he can expel his energy with heat vision, his solar energy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't hate it. I think it made sense for the character. But anyway, so that type of character
I think we just found out how Superman wins.
No, that type of character, that type of hero who can kind of overcome any obstacle using his power is kind of going up against Doctor Doom, who is a villain that they kind of have created to. His power set isn't nearly quite as defined. He's just the guy who can kind of come up with whatever he needs within the context of the situation to kind of overcome his hurdle. And while he,
he's almost like, he's like the ultimate evil version of Batman. He just has like unlimited resources.
Yes.
Whereas Superman always triumphs with his strength, Doctor Doom always triumphs with his his mind.
Yeah.
He's as smart or smarter than Reed Richards,
right?
Who in this Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Marvel Comics universe, Reed Richards is the smartest guy.
One, if not the most smartest guy on Earth.
Yeah.
So this should definitely be an interesting fight, and I think Newsarama did a good job with this choice. So let's get into it and tell us about Superman.
Yeah, everyone knows about Superman.
The end.
Superman was sent off. He's from another planet called Krypton. His Kryptonian name is Kal-El. His father was the chief scientist of Krypton who recognized the planet's destruction before anyone else, and no one else would listen. So in a last-ditch effort to save his son and something of his planet, he rocketed his son in a rocket ship to Earth, where the solar radiation of our young sun and the atmosphere, the lighter gravity, thinner atmosphere, just gives Superman all these incredible abilities, including super strength, because his DNA structure is so used to a planet that has much more gravity and just denser overall. His genetic makeup gives him strength. It gives him the weaker gravity, allows him to flight, sort of gives him control over his own gravity. He's super fast, just because his muscles are bred, or not bred, but they're meant for a much thicker atmosphere, just overall. And so super speed. He can view the entire spectrum of light. He could emit infrared.
You're saying a lot.
It's, I don't know. I'm not exactly prepared for this. I was like, oh, Superman's backstory, I got this. But so he has his heat vision. He has super strength, super flight, super speed, super senses. Just because next time I say just punch me in the face. His senses are heightened just because they're, again, genetically built for a different, harsher environment. And
so how can people not recognize him as Clark Kent?
What are you talking about?
How are the glasses a good enough disguise for Superman?
Superman doesn't stick around long enough for you to see his face. It's... And the people he does rescue, how often do they It's not like Clark Kent is a news reporter, or like he's a news reporter, a broadcast news reporter. So he's just this everyday guy as Clark Kent. Do I need to go into Clark Kent? He crash landed on Earth. He was raised by this farm couple in Kansas, the Kents, Jonathan and Martha Kent. They instilled in him this, very moral, strong moral compass in him. And so he uses his abilities to protect the planet, his adopted planet. And he uses he grew up as Clark Kent, was raised as Clark Kent, and he uses that as his disguise, his secret identity to keep an eye on the news around Metropolis as a reporter.
Alrighty. Well, I think we all learned just how boring of a character Superman is.
I will cut you.
God.
Let's hear about Dr. Doom.
Okay. Dr. Doom, Victor Von Doom, he grew up in... Where did he grow up? It was like... obviously, Latveria.
Really?
It's in Eastern Europe. I was trying to think of where in Eastern Europe, and obviously...
Is it Eastern Europe? Is that...
Yeah, it's in Eastern Europe.
It's interesting because it's like the one made-up place in Marvel... In the Marvel comics.
Yeah,
usually,
everything else takes place in the real world.
Everyone's in New York City, but it's sort of like the metropolis of... It's another made-up place like Metropolis or Gotham.
Yeah. Well, Victor Von Doom, he was a gifted young man, grew up in Latveria. He studied science and started learning about the mystical arts from his mother. His mother made a deal with Mephisto, who is Marvel's kind of... he's the devil, basically the incarnation of the devil in the Marvel universe.
Gypsy, right?
I think so. Yeah, they were, because I'm trying to remember back to my comics. Yeah, they were gypsies, and I think the girl that he fell in love with, Valeria, I think she was a gypsy too. But anyway, so he was a gifted man. His mom, again, she made a deal with Mephisto to give her son power, and she ended up losing her life due to that deal. And Dr. Doom blamed Mephisto for it and started doing experiments along the lines of kind of transporting your astral projection into other dimensions. And it was this type of experiment that he was working on when he met Reed Richards and Ben Grimm in college in New York.
Yeah. And
Reed Richards kind of pointed out, hey, this machine is dangerous. It doesn't... You have a miscalculation somewhere.
But why was he trying to do that?
Why was Dr. Doom trying to project his astral form into other dimensions?
Yes.
He was trying to save his mother.
From hell.
From hell, yeah. It all goes back to saving his mom. Big mama's boy. Arrogant. He was so arrogant that he didn't believe Reed Richards, and he tried to use his invention, which ended up exploding and damaging his face, to which extent varies depending on which story you're reading. On some accounts, the machine only barely scarred him, but he was so vain that he wore his Dr. Doom mask, which he first put on after he was expelled from school and went to live with some Tibetan monks and learned from them, and he healed there. That's where he put the mask on, and some say that he put the mask on too soon after being forged, and that's what burnt his face. But either way, he never really takes his mask off, and only recently did we see what's underneath the mask in Secret War. And looked pretty much like how you would expect, kind of like Freddy Krueger without a nose, kind of.
Interesting.
But anyway, so he's a master of science and technology and the mystical arts as well. He's an accomplished magician, at one time even being considered for the role of Sorcerer Supreme when Doctor Strange lost that title. So he used his powers and his new armor and his technology, and he went and he took over the country of Latveria from its ruler, and now serves as its primary monarch and
Dictator.
Monarch/dictator. Although Latveria is a very successful country. So he kind of the interesting about Dr. Doom is that he is actually a very qualified, skilled leader.
Beloved leader. Right?
Beloved leader, yes. And so who's to say that, his plans of world domination would be a bad thing? Everybody, if you're American and love freedom, that's who.
What's the story behind his armor?
The story behind his armor?
Yeah. I know the mask, but what about the armor?
It's just armor that he created, and its abilities kind of change depending on the context of the story. It's kind of like a Swiss Army knife of inventions.
It's like borderline, Iron Man armor.
Yeah, it's borderline Iron Man armor. He can shoot electrical blasts from it. He has a gun that he uses a lot, which could shoot any type of laser or pulse or whatever he needs it to be.
What?
He's an accomplished martial artist.
What? Really?
Yeah. He's basically Batman. He's perfected his mental and physical abilities to their peak human, and they're even enhanced due to his armor. He can fly. He's strong, but he's not nearly as strong as even Iron Man. He can lift a couple tons, I believe. It's merely enhanced, but he makes up for that for sure. And I'm sure, all he has to do is flip a switch and all of a sudden he has like Hulk strength or something, just because that's just the nature of the character.
Of course.
Although probably not Superman strength, because that's just ridiculous. But that's pretty much Dr. Doom. He's evil son of a bitch, but one of the best villains of the Marvel Universe.
Really, really
just because
villain.
of how evil he really is.
How prideful he is.
How prideful, yeah. Good bad guy for the Fantastic Four and for the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's them, and I could totally see Dr. Doom winning this fight just because he is kind of a magic hat of abilities. We're assuming in these fights that these characters have no prior knowledge of each other, because if they did,
Batman would always win, because Batman in prep time equals
probably Batman would always win, and Dr. Doom would always win. And I'm confident that he's going to win this battle. It would be an absolute certainty, because he would just stockpile all the kryptonite. He would just have all the kryptonite, and and all the red sun radiation. Superman would not stand a chance.
Yeah, I didn't go over Superman's weaknesses. So there's kryptonite, which everyone knows. Yeah. It was irradiated fragments of his home planet, which is like a lot of people don't like kryptonite, but you have to appreciate the tragic irony that his home planet kills him, makes him sick. There's also red solar radiation. Again, the Krypton had a red sun called Rao, which they worshipped, and it was an older sun. So one of the things that gives Superman his powers here on Earth is our younger yellow sun, which his body just absorbs, sort of like photosynthesis. But another one of his weaknesses is, it's not really a weakness, he just has no defense against it, is magic.
Boom.
So, but he's overcome stuff like that before. He's overcome magic users before.
Yes.
So
even without...
You look at something like, well, not that this is magic, but like Mr. Mixia-Splitlick, the fifth dimensional imp, that guy could basically do anything.
Is that magic?
It's
fifth dimensional technology?
Power.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So assuming that there is no prep time, you have to find ways that Superman could beat Dr. Doom and Dr. Doom could beat Superman. Dr. Doom probably does not know that Superman is weak to magic.
He probably doesn't. Superman can move faster than Dr. Doom thinks. That's always the one argument in Superman versus Batman that everyone always makes, is that, Batman may be smarter and Batman may, have all these contingencies, but he can't think faster than Superman can move, because Superman could propel him with speeds bordering the speed of light. Like, he could accelerate up to that speed, So.
God, he's such a cheater character.
So boom, but yeah.
But Dr. Doom is also a cheater character.
They're both kind of cheater characters.
So Superman definitely has the strength. He has the speed. He has the power.
He has all the physicality.
If Dr. Doom Dr. Doom doesn't have any weaknesses. I guess his one weakness is his pride, his ego.
The same as Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor and Dr. Doom are very similar.
Yeah.
Except I would put Dr. Doom over... I think Dr. Doom would have the advantage, just because of his armor. And
Lex Luthor has armor. Oh, this isn't a fight between them, but also Lex Luthor has run He's been a country leader. He was the president.
That's
of the
right.
United
He was
States
the president. Yeah. Was he a good president? I can't remember.
Yeah, he wasn't bad.
Did people like him?
I mean, he was eventually thrown out of office in kind of a silly story written by Jeff Loeb. Same.
Was he impeached?
I think so.
Good.
Yeah.
A story of Lex Luthor becoming president can only end with him being impeached.
Anyway,
Dr. Doom has never been impeached, never overthrown.
Because he's a dictator. He's not. He's not also not voted into office.
Yeah. Well, it's due to the nature of their powers. It's how do you see this going, kind of blow by blow?
So they arrive in this arena. There are no also in our Battlecast, there's no really environmental.
Yeah, the environment doesn't play a factor.
Yeah.
We're assuming they're like, let's put them on friggin' Mars or something.
Yeah, we don't put that into the statistics that we calculate. There's no any kind of environmental.
This is assuming maybe like a danger room type scenario.
Yeah,
an
maybe.
empty danger room or something. I don't know.
Something. So basically, Superman just bomb.
He'll go full scale assault. Yeah,
just full scale assault. Just strips him of his armor, so Doctor Doom can't have any kind of advantage with his armor on there. And then rips off his mask, holds up a mirror, and Doctor Doom just breaks down, crying.
I think this fight definitely ends. Which comic cover was it where Doctor Doom he has like all of his armor stripped off, but he's still fighting? I know he did it in the Infinity Gauntlet, but there was a cover. Maybe it was the Infinity Gauntlet, or maybe it was Secret War, fighting the Beyonder or something. But basically,
it would have to be Secret War if it was the Beyonder, right?
All of his armor was stripped off, and he still had his magic though, and I think that's where this comes into play for Doctor Doom, or why he will be the victor, because take away everything else he has, he still has these natural abilities and even psychic abilities that he uses as a last resort.
Psychic abilities?
Yes. Yeah, he can, as a last-ditch effort, he can project his mind into other people. And that's how he can escape death, essentially.
Oh, that's interesting.
I bet you at the end of this fight, Superman wins, but it turns out it was a Doombot, and then Dr. Doom blasts him.
We'll explain Doombots.
Doombots are basically just decoys that Dr. Doom uses that look exactly like him, but they're automated, they're automatons, and a bunch of them. There's like an army of them, right? Anytime you've ever seen Dr. Doom die, it's been a Doombot.
That's so lame.
And the real Dr. Doom has been hiding behind the scenes.
I do have to say, though, a psychic attack would not work on Superman.
Why?
I mean, I don't think. So Superman has, like, okay, how do I explain this? I even forget the name of it. I think the English, I forget the Kryptonian name of it, but I guess the English term for it would be the Theta State. I think that's what they call it. Mm-hmm. It's basically he was trained by the Eradicator in this Kryptonian mental martial arts. So Superman can't be psychically overpowered.
Oh, really? So like a psychic block, kind of.
Yeah, exactly, like a psychic block. It's like a mental martial arts. So if someone does try to attack his mind, his mind could fight back.
Interesting.
Which is pretty obscure.
It's just one of the like we're talking about. It's depending on the context of the story, they develop powers that suit the needs of the story.
I think we called his new power Supernova earlier. It's actually called Super Flare.
Super Flare?
Which I think is a terrible name.
It should be called Supernova.
It should be called Supernova.
That's pretty cool.
But it's just like, flare, jazz hands.
So Superman definitely, I think he overpowers him, breaks his armor, but then Dr. Doom brings out the magic, probably creates like a mystical snare or something to keep Superman from moving so fast, and then, just blasts him with his magic, and that's how I see it going.
Here's the thing. I've seen Squirrel Girl take out Dr. Doom.
Oh, yeah. Squirrel Girl. Well, she's like more powerful. She can take on Galactus, right? With all the power of her squirrels. I thought I read that somewhere. That does not count.
So, okay, let me ask you this. Superman could beat Darkseid. The equivalent of Darkseid in the Marvel Universe, and by equivalent I mean straight ripoff, is Thanos. Thanos is sort of like we say Doctor Doom is like the biggest villain of the Marvel Universe. He's sort of the biggest villain of like Earth. I would say Thanos is the biggest Marvel Universe villain. That's why they're using him in the
or
the only reason they're using him in the movies. Who would win in a fight between Thanos and Doctor Doom?
Thanos, although they did fight recently in Secret War, but Doctor Doom had the powers of the Beyonder, and he ripped out his heart, which was pretty badass.
Wait, Doctor Doom ripped out Thanos' heart?
Yes.
I did not know that.
I think I don't know. It would come to a standstill. And Doctor Doom has so much endurance, though. He would out.
Not more than Superman.
I don't know. It's comparable.
Really?
Doctor Doom he can last through a lot, which is why I think he'll last through Superman's attack, and which is why I think he'll end up coming out on top. But let's leave it to the computer to decide. So again, we'll go ahead and we've taken all the stats basically from the Marvel Power Grid.
Yeah, and a few more.
The official Marvel Power Grid, adjusting where necessary, definitely not going off the power votes, and then using those same stats to compare and develop the stats for DC. Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and run the data and process.
Cue the data audio.
All right, here we go. Okay, the results are in, and it looks like, let me see here. Sorry, I have these output cells that I need to click into. Okay, so.
Oh my gosh, I'm nervous.
Accounting for all of their stats, including weaknesses, it looks like Superman loses.
What?
Yeah.
What percentage?
Doctor Doom. Superman loses. No, he wins. I'm sorry. Superman wins 41.6% of the time. So.
Wait. Okay, you're like, what? Superman wins?
No. He only wins 41.6% of the time. So that means Doctor Doom wins, what is that, 58.4% of the time. And therefore is the champion.
That's not as close as I thought it was going to be, honestly.
Really?
I thought it was going to be within 10 percentage points.
Well, I subtracted from Superman's durability stat to account for the magical blasts that he'll face, and I also added to Doctor Doom's energy projection stat to account for that as well. And that's magic. So magic is basically what put him over the edge. And who's to say, maybe Doctor Doom even runs some scans on Superman and realizes that he's vulnerable to either Kryptonian radiation or red sun radiation, and he shoots that out of his gun. You never know.
I guarantee you Superman put up a good fight, because Superman may be weak to magic, but you know what Doctor Doom is weak to? Super fists to the face.
I thought you were gonna say super fisting.
Super fisting? This is probably another weekness of his.
But yeah, so all you Superman fans out there, in your face, Marvel wins this round. If you listen to our last Battlecast, DC did win that one, and it was by a greater margin too. Batman beat Moon Knight over 60% of the time. Nice. I can't remember the exact figure, but so yeah, it looks like Doctor Doom wins 58% of the time, and we have a champion for the second Battlecast episode. So put that one in the books.
So yeah, we're tied up right now, 1-1.
And if you have anything to say about that, go ahead and send us a message. Where can they reach us?
They could reach us on Twitter at DC Marvel Battle, or via email. It's just, our email address is dcmarvelbattlecast@gmail.com.
Cool. And
or leave a comment in our SoundCloud if that's how you're listening to us.
That's probably the easiest way. Yeah, you can listen to us on SoundCloud and on iTunes.
Yep.
And that does it for this episode. In the next episode, I think since we have 2 reviews coming up at the end of March and the beginning of April, we might do another Battlecast episode the next week.
Cool.
So if go ahead and let us know. Send us in who you want to see fight. Send us good matchups. Like Squirrel Girl versus Darkseid, and yeah, we'll go over and we'll figure out who's gonna win.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like the Bruce Wayne Tony Stark one, first of all, if you know the characters, that's a terrible matchup. Second of all, let's try not to do. I mean, at least for a while, we don't want to repeat characters.
Yeah, let's do someone besides Batman, Moon Knight, Superman, and Doctor Doom.
Yeah, let's keep it fresh. Let's keep it new, exciting.
Fresh. All right. Oh, I think that does it. And so...
Without further ado...
Up, and away!
True
believers...